It is a feeling that almost every dog owner knows intimately, a feeling that we often crave after a long, exhausting day. You are sitting on the couch, the television is murmuring in the background, and you look down. There they are, your loyal shadow. Your dog is pressing their body firmly against your leg, their chin resting heavily on your foot. As you get up to walk into the kitchen to pour a glass of water, you hear the familiar click-clack of their paws following right behind you, matching your pace step for step. You close the bathroom door, and seconds later, you hear a soft sigh and the thud of their body laying down right against the wood on the other side. We call this the Velcro dog. To the outside world, and often to our own hearts, it feels like the ultimate definition of unconditional love. It feels like an unbreakable bond, where your dog simply cannot bear to be parted from your presence for even a single second. And for some breeds, or for dogs that have been exactly this way since they were tiny nursing puppies, this constant physical proximity is indeed just a quirky, beautiful part of their ingrained personality. But I want you to sit down quietly, take a deep breath, and think carefully about your own canine companion for a moment. Did this clinging behavior start suddenly? Did your usually independent dog, the one who used to happily nap in the warm sunbeam by the bedroom window while you worked downstairs, transform into this desperate, hovering shadow seemingly overnight? Did they suddenly stop wanting to sleep in their own plush orthopedic bed, choosing instead to cram their bodies into the tiny, uncomfortable space between your desk chair and the wall, just so they can feel the side of your leg? Because if this is a sudden shift in their daily rhythm, what you are witnessing might not be a heartwarming display of affection at all. As an animal behaviorist, I have to share a truth with you that might be quite difficult and heavy to hear. This sudden clinginess is very often a silent, desperate cry for help. It is a profound biological signal that your best friend's internal world is cracking apart, and they are using the absolute only physical language they have left to tell you about it. Today, we are going to decode the heartbreaking reality behind sudden Velcro dog syndrome. We will explore the three distinct, hidden catalysts that cause this dramatic behavioral shift, ranging from invisible neurological changes in their aging brain to agonizing physical pain that they are actively trying to hide from your eyes. Understanding this hidden language could literally save your dog from months of silent, misunderstood suffering. So let us look far past the surface level of what we assume is just cute, needy behavior and dive deep into the complex, beautiful, and sometimes tragic mind of the creature that loves you infinitely more than it loves itself. Let us begin with the first layer of this psychological mountain, which is the sudden descent into profound separation anxiety. We as humans have a strong tendency to romanticize our dog's actions to fit our own emotional needs. When we pick up our car keys, grab our purse, or put on our heavy winter coat, and our dog instantly glues themselves to our calves, we smile softly and think, oh, they know I am leaving for work, and they are going to miss me so much today. But I want you to look much closer at their physical body in that exact moment. Look at the highly subtle signs that the untrained eye misses. Are their pupils slightly dilated and dark? Is their breathing just a little bit shallower and faster than their normal resting breath? Is there a faint, almost imperceptible tremble in the muscles of their hind legs or their back as they press their weight against you? That dog is not asking you for a loving hug goodbye. That dog is attempting to use your physical body mass to regulate its own skyrocketing internal stress hormones. When a dog develops sudden hyperattachment, their brain is entering a primal, chaotic state of panic. To truly understand this, we have to look closely at the hard science of their neurochemistry. Leading veterinary behaviorists and researchers have shown that when the primary attachment figure, which is you, signals an impending departure, the anxious dog's brain instantly floods with cortisol and norepinephrine. This is the exact same toxic chemical cocktail that floods a human brain during a terrifying, life-threatening fight or flight emergency. To counteract this terrifying internal storm, the dog desperately seeks physical contact with you. Why? Because deep physical touch stimulates the immediate release of oxytocin in their brain. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone, but more importantly, in this scenario, it acts as a powerful, natural sedative for the nervous system. They are pressing their body against yours to literally self-medicate their own rising panic. They are trying to extract a physical sense of safety from the warmth of your skin. To fully grasp the immense weight of this anxiety, we must travel backward through time, roughly 14,000 years ago. We must look at their ancient ancestors, the wild wolves, fighting to survive in a harsh, unforgiving Ice Age environment. In the wild wilderness, being separated from the core members of the pack was not just a lonely experience, it was an absolute terminal event. A lone wolf, especially one feeling sick or vulnerable, is entirely exposed to rival predators, severe starvation, and freezing temperatures. In their world, isolation equals certain death. That ancient, ancestral terror of being left alone is still perfectly preserved and deeply coded into the DNA of the modern, domesticated dog sleeping safely on your living room rug. When their anxiety randomly spikes due to a trigger we might not even notice, their brain does not rationally know they are inside a highly secure, climate-controlled apartment with a full bowl of premium kibble and fresh water. Their primitive mammalian brain only knows one terrifying fact. The pack leader is leaving the den, and they are about to be left completely defenseless against the wild. Therefore, their sudden, desperate clinginess is not a sentimental human emotion of missing you. It is a raw, unadulterated survival mechanism. You are not just their beloved owner in this terrifying moment. You are their fortress. You are the absolute only barrier between them and the perceived mortal dangers of the outside world. Recognizing this crucial difference between a display of love and a display of survival panic is the very first step in truly healing their fractured peace of mind. However, profound anxiety is not the only invisible ghost that silently stalks the delicate corridors of a dog's mind. As we move deeper into this psychological mountain, we must address a reality that is uniquely heartbreaking for those of us who share our lives with senior companions. For our aging dogs, whose muzzles have turned a beautiful, frosty white after years of loyal service, sudden Velcro behavior can be the first, terrifying symptom of a fading world. Imagine, if you will, the quiet atmosphere of your home late in the evening. The heavy curtains are drawn against the cold night wind. The golden light from a single reading lamp casts long, static shadows across the familiar living room rug, and the only sound is the rhythmic, gentle ticking of the old wall clock. In this deeply peaceful, familiar sanctuary, your 12-year-old dog, who has navigated this exact floor plan flawlessly for over a decade, suddenly stops dead in their tracks in the middle of the hallway. They stand there, completely motionless, staring blankly into the dimly lit corner where the bookshelf meets the wall. Then, the moment you stand up from your armchair to check on them, they rapidly rush to your side and press their trembling shoulder hard against your knee, refusing to let you take a single step without them. Many well-meaning owners will gently stroke their dog's head in this moment, smile softly with a tinge of sadness, and lovingly dismiss this new clinginess by saying they are just getting a little older. Or perhaps they are just becoming a bit senile and sweet in their twilight years. But I must ask you to pause, look into their cloudy eyes, and truly understand the gravity of what is happening inside their head. This is not just old age. This is a profoundly painful and terrifying experience for the dog. The hard science behind this heartbreaking shift points directly to a neurological condition known as canine cognitive dysfunction, or CCD. This devastating condition is essentially the canine equivalent of Alzheimer's disease in humans. Just like in the human brain, abnormal proteins known as amyloid plaques begin to slowly and relentlessly build up within the neural pathways of your senior dog. Picture these plaques as a creeping, heavy winter frost that silently coats the vibrant, healthy connections in their brain, gradually slowing down the transmission of electrical signals and effectively freezing their precious memories and cognitive abilities. As this invisible frost spreads, CCD fundamentally disrupts their internal circadian rhythms, turning their peaceful nights into restless, confusing days, and throwing their natural sleep cycles into complete chaos. But crucially, and most devastatingly, this disease severely damages their spatial awareness. The living room that they have memorized by heart, the familiar placement of the soft sofa, the heavy oak coffee table, and the warm fireplace suddenly becomes an alien, terrifying landscape of shifting, unrecognizable shapes. Their mental map of their own safe haven is being violently erased piece by piece. When this internal map completely disappears into the cognitive fog, the dog experiences a level of profound disorientation that we can barely begin to comprehend. They are lost, alone, and frightened inside the very home they have guarded their entire life. In this terrifying state of mental blindness, they desperately seek out the only static, reliable, and deeply familiar landmark left in their entire crumbling universe. That irreplaceable landmark is you. The scent of your skin, the steady, rhythmic sound of your heartbeat, and the solid warmth of your physical body are the only anchors keeping them tethered to reality. They are not following you closely into the kitchen because they are hoping for a late-night treat. They are clinging to your legs because without your physical presence guiding them through the dark, they have absolutely no idea where they are or how to navigate the terrifying emptiness of the hallway. Your body has become their ultimate compass in a world that has suddenly gone completely dark. We have now reached the absolute peak of this psychological structure, and this is the vital truth that will fundamentally change how you look at your dog forever. We have discussed severe anxiety, and we have explored cognitive decline, but the most critical, and tragically the most common reason an intensely independent dog suddenly transforms into your desperate, inescapable Velcro shadow is something much more primal. It is unspoken, agonizing physical pain. Imagine a scenario where your usually stoic, independent companion is quietly suffering from a severe, undiagnosed medical issue. It could be the deep, gnawing ache of advanced osteoarthritis, slowly grinding the cartilage in their hips down to the bone. It could be the sharp, piercing, relentless agony of a hidden dental abscess festering deep beneath their gum line, sending shock waves of pain through their jaw with every breath. Or, terrifyingly, it could be the silent, spreading pressure of an internal mass that you cannot see from the outside. What breaks my heart the most as an animal behaviorist is that they rarely ever whine. They do not dramatically limp around the house to gain your sympathy. They do not cry out in the night to wake you. They just quietly walk over to where you are sitting, heavily lean their warm, aching body against your side, and press their full weight into you, day after day, hour after hour. This silent behavior is deeply rooted in their biology. When a dog experiences severe, chronic physical pain, their adrenal glands work overtime to flood their entire system with the stress hormone cortisol. As we have already established, a massive spike in cortisol creates an overwhelming sensation of fear and vulnerability. Fear, in turn, biologically demands physical closeness to their trusted pack leader in order to trigger the soothing release of oxytocin. It is a biological, closed loop of suffering. They are literally attempting to absorb your physical presence, hoping that your warmth and your familiar scent will somehow act as a narcotic to numb their own inescapable physical agony. But why do they hide it so well? Why don't they just look at us, whimper, and clearly show us where it hurts? To understand this tragic silence, we must once again look back at the unforgiving laws of evolutionary history. In the harsh reality of the wild, showing any visible sign of physical pain or weakness is an absolute, undeniable death sentence. A wild wolf that visibly limps, cries out, or shows sluggishness instantly broadcasts its vulnerability to every opportunistic predator waiting in the dark forest. Furthermore, a weak member becomes a heavy liability to the survival of the entire pack, and they are often tragically left behind in the snow to perish alone. This ancient, brutal necessity to survive has embedded a powerful stoic gene deep into your dog's ancestral DNA. Your loyal companion has been strictly programmed by millions of years of ruthless evolution to actively hide their pain from everyone, including you. They will stoically endure the agony, masking their suffering behind a brave face, until the pain reaches a catastrophic threshold where they simply cannot hide it for a single second longer. When that final, biological barrier of endurance finally breaks, their absolute last remaining strategy for survival is to fuse their physical body to the one creature they trust more than anything else in the entire universe. That creature is you. They press against you, hoping that if the predators come, you will protect them because they can no longer protect themselves. That sudden, extreme Velcro behavior you see is not a demand for attention. It is the deafening sound of their silent scream. It is deeply heartbreaking, yes, to fully realize that the ultimate gesture of physical closeness, the very action that makes us feel so incredibly loved and needed, might actually be a symptom of profound fear, cognitive confusion, or hidden physical pain. It is a heavy burden to carry as a pet parent. When you look down at that sweet face pressed so firmly against your knee, your first instinct is simply to reach down and gently stroke their fur, whispering softly that everything is going to be perfectly fine. But now, armed with this behavioral science and a deeper understanding of their neurological reality, you must look past the immediate comfort of their physical presence. You must look into their eyes and ask yourself the hard questions. What is my dog truly trying to communicate to me in this silent, desperate moment? What invisible battle are they fighting inside that little body? And how can I step up to be the ultimate protector they desperately believe I am? In that difficult truth, however, lies an absolutely incredible, beautiful opportunity. It is a profound testament to the deeply rooted bond you have patiently built over the years, that when their internal world begins to dangerously crack and crumble, you are the absolute only fortress they seek out for safety. You are their entire world. So, if your typically independent, easygoing companion suddenly and dramatically transforms into your constant, inescapable shadow, I beg you, do not simply just accept the extra affection as a cute new behavioral quirk. You must actively investigate it with the same urgency you would for a human child. Schedule a comprehensive physical examination with a trusted veterinarian immediately to thoroughly rule out any hidden, agonizing physical pain. Ask for detailed blood work, check their joints for the silent onset of arthritis, and carefully examine their teeth for any hidden, agonizing abscesses. If the physical medical tests come back completely clear, then it is time to gently address the fragile state of their mental health. If it is severe separation anxiety flooding their brain with toxic cortisol, you must work patiently with a certified canine behaviorist to slowly rebuild their shattered confidence and carefully desensitize them to the terrifying triggers of your departure. If it is the tragic, confusing fog of cognitive dysfunction slowly erasing the familiar map of their world, you must step up to be their constant, unwavering guide. You must create a highly predictable, safe, and heavily structured environment where they never have to feel lost or alone in the dark. You must literally become the physical walls of the sanctuary they are desperately trying to find. Be the impenetrable fortress they deeply believe you are. Understanding this silent, complicated, and often painful language is without a doubt the absolute greatest, most profound gift of unconditional love you can possibly return to them for their lifetime of loyalty. They give us their entire hearts, and we owe it to them to truly listen when they have no words to speak. If this deep psychological insight has fundamentally changed the way you look at your beloved companion, and if you are committed to being their ultimate protector, please consider subscribing to our channel, On. I want you to scroll down right now and type a solemn promise in the comment section below. Type the words, "I am my dog's fortress." We are completely dedicated to helping you decode their complex, beautiful world, one silent behavior at a time. And remember, the journey of understanding never truly ends. If you have ever wondered why your dog wags its tail, you might be shocked to learn that not every tail wag means they are happy. In fact, a specific type of stiff, low wag is a severe, split-second warning right before a bite. If you want to know exactly how to read this dangerous hidden signal to protect yourself and your family, that highly requested analysis is waiting for you in our very next video.